Reflecting pools at the state capitol has long been a point of discussion and debate. Built in the 1960s, it was created to symbolize the ocean surrounding the islands. But the pools have been leaking into the chamber offices of the capitol and is in need of repairs. So there is a solution in the work, and the public now has a chance to participate in the renovation. Joining us to provide an update is Keith Regan, Comptroller with the Department of Accounting and General Services, and artist Solomon Enos, who has been selected to create the art that will replace the pool water. And we'll have more on that in a bit, but start with Keith. First of all, let's get an update on what's happening with the Capitol pools right now.
Yeah, the project's moving along extremely well. We're on target in terms of schedule. We completed the waterproofing project on the Diamond Head side, and now we're working on the other side of the pools. And so this project is, like I said, it's on track, and we're very excited about getting the waterproofing completed, because what that means is that we can now start looking at what the final product and treatment will be for that pool itself.
There was an absolute need for a waterless solution though, right? And that's been a part of the discussion and issues.
That's right. You know, actually, when you think about the pool, it's not just the pool, it's actually part of the roof of the facility underneath it. And so one of the big challenges with having 260 something thousand gallons of water is that eventually it's going to find its way through. And the maintenance of that is extremely expensive. And so we were looking at what are the other options to preserve this very precious source, which is water, right? Instead of using it for pools, can we do something different? And that's where we come up with this idea of maybe doing a waterless solution, much like what you see at the Hemeter building.
So tell me about this process though, about deciding what is going to replace the pools.
Yeah, it was an iterative process. We sat down, we started thinking about what are the options, what kind of treatment could we put on top of the pool to make it look like water. And again, we started looking at how do we engage the community? How could we develop this product that's going to be on top of the pool? And that's where we developed this, the Art Advisory Committee. We brought a group of people together to put a plan together to try to find artists that would be able to submit their concepts of what might be, what that pool might look like. And we went through this process with a bunch of artists and came up with a winning artist, which was Solomon Enos and his design.
Okay, well that's a great segue into Solomon, and we know that for historic reasons, there has to be a water feature.
Yeah.
And so tell us about your creative idea, your vision behind it, the pools.
Sure. Well, I really wanted to create something that, you know, emulated what the oceans do around the islands, the Pai'aina of Hawaii, and so that the design itself would be reacting and responding and breathing with the state capitol, which is, in and of itself is a massive art installation, which also happens to be, you know, the seat of government in Hawaii. So, and importantly, I had a trip to Papahana, Mokuakea, the Northwest Hawaiian Islands, almost about 10 years ago. So I've had a chance to visit the other 2/3 of Hawaii. So I want to try to bring those experiences and that palette right back into the Hawaii State Capitol, which is really supposed to be an amalgamation of the entire archipelago.
Right, and so you're asking the public to come and be a part of this,
Absolutely.
right? And, right, starting next month. So tell me about what you're doing.
Well, great. Well, I have a tiny little swatch, a little sample here. And this is, we're not going to be giving it away as far as the design. It's going to be slowly releasing it to the community. But what's really important is over a series of upcoming information gathering events through the State Foundation for Culture and the Arts, and there's going to be a few other public events where we're going to open up the design and give everybody little brushes so that auntie, uncle, mom, dad, keiki, kupuna, everybody can be involved in accenting the design, helping us to develop it. And so that when we turn it into this massive glass installation, folks will be able to come back and say, oh, I think that's my mark. I think that's my mark. It's a way for us to actually get community participation, to make capital P public art. And the more people that I talk to as far as the installers and some of the folks that we're working to do the actual installation, they're saying that's radical. Do you trust community to come in and help you to make that art? And even before they finish their question, I'm already saying yes and yes, 1,000 times yes.
And there's no fee, there's no registration needed.
Yep,
there are certain days, and we'll have that information in just a bit,
yeah.
People just can come down and be a part of this.
Absolutely.
And I guess your idea of this art, it's really just to be a reflection of the islands,
The
it's
islands.
the community,
Yeah.
and water.
Yeah,
Right?
and it has to be a degree of abstraction. You cannot have literal fish in the pool. You can't have literal depictions because you can't have birds coming to try to dive and get those fish, or we're going to have a lot of problems. So it really is an abstraction of the ocean, but it's actually kind of a patchwork of the many oceans that make up Hawaii's nearshore areas, but also the many oceans that make up Moana Nui Akea, or the Pacific itself. So there's a lot of layers.
Absolutely. Well, that's fantastic. I think it's such a great idea to include the community, public with a capital P.
Yeah, absolutely.
Alright. And just real fast, I guess, back to the need of having to replace this. I think that some of the dispute has been about the cost of doing art, but in other words, you got to weigh that with the actual cost of maintenance, right? And
Absolutely, and that's one of the things we looked at, right? How much is it going to cost us to maintain this pool over the next 10, 20 years if we were to put water back in, or if we were to put this glass over the top of it, right, and really just seal it up so that it can be preserved for a much longer lifespan and a lot less cost overall to maintain it. And what's great about this is the space is going to eventually be able to be activated. We can use this space. People can have activities on this space because you can literally walk on water.
Yeah.
So very exciting opportunity here ahead of us. We're really encouraging the public to come out and participate.
fantastic. All right. Thank you so much for joining us. And there is some information on where you can participate in building this art, creating art around the Capitol, and we'll have that on our website, khon2.com. Thanks so much again.
Thanks for having us.
And we'll toss it over to Chris now for traffic.